Hello and welcome to the final episode of my first tutorial for Automation Empire. If you haven't seen the previous videos, you might want to have a peek because I cover each game-changing technology and show you what methods I've used to beat a planet in as little as 11 game years with the 45,000 kilogram medallion. My name is Hive Tyrant 424 and this is how I build and load my rockets. To unlock the rockets, you're going to need to research 300 each of steel plates, gold fuel, capacitors, and ethanol. Additionally, you're going to need to have a productivity of 22,000 kilograms, and that's actually really easy to do if you've been keeping your trains all loaded. Now, in order to make and research ethanol, you'll need 200 research in refined oil to unlock agriculture. I've done that here, so I'm going to show you my super secret farm. I only use the red grain. I haven't even bothered unlocking greenhouses in any game because I haven't needed them so far. I'm sure that'll change with an update sooner or later, but that's good because it'll give me something new to play with. I've built a small refinery for my grain, but as soon as I finished it, I knew I was going to need a bigger one. So I'll do that in a little bit and expand the farms to make sure I get as much grain as I can into the refinery for my mega fuel factory. Now the farm plots can't pass grain from one to another. Each plot has to have a container connected directly to it, or some kind of output. So I build a chain of containers and then I connect each to the plots. This lets me collect all the grain in just one stop of the minecart train as opposed to having to run down this line and pick up a little bit of grain from each stop. It's much, much faster. Now each plot also has to have water, but it doesn't require any power. You can see the little water droplet icon over the top of each plot, and it's got a little red line through it. That means that plot isn't getting water, and therefore it's not going to grow. So I'm just going to get my pickup train, and I don't even know why I bothered because I knew I was going to have to scrap that refinery, but that's okay. So I'll set my water container down, big water jug, the reservoir I think it's called, and I'm going to connect it to the factory that's going to be making my ethanol so that it works faster. Now the farm plots will transfer water from one to another using the water pipes. I like to have all my farms harvest at exactly the same time if I can, so I'm going to connect the water to these plots last. But you only need to feed one plot with the water line, and then you can just connect each of the other plots together with water. There you go. Now each one of those plots will harvest 6 grain every 76 or 72 seconds, something like that. So I'm just going to add my second row of farms here and get those working. And this is me running the second minecart train around to the other side to pick up the grain and take it directly into the refinery. So that's going to double the amount of grain going in and making sure that my refiners are always working. Again, I just want a single pickup for all of these farms. I don't want to have to stop at each one. So using this method also lets you build your farms in basically any direction you want, which is really cool. Now, my Mega Fuel factory is in the middle of the map because I wasn't planning on using trains for Mega Fuel at all if I could avoid it. I do end up using a train for a little while to try and get my surplus Mega Fuel because, as you can see, I haven't built my rockets yet, so I need to get rid of some of that fuel. But I've unlocked the rockets now, so now I can go ahead and build the offloading system and get the rockets going. Now, one of my viewers, he advocates using outdoor loading systems for the trucks and the roads, and I don't disagree. But I wanted to see whether rockets would be better fed from outdoor crating systems or inside my crating factory. So I'm going to build one of each, a rocket set with outdoor craters feeding it, and then another one being fed from the same factory because I'm making a lot of mega fuel. So I want to see which one of them is actually going to work better for me. No, won't be able to get 4 on each container. That's okay. I think I'll have a feeder line to. We'll start off with 2 sets of two rockets with the with the loading lines and see how that goes. I'll start by loading one rocket from each of the group of 4 crate makers, because each rocket will hold 50 crates of material, and then the pad holds another 50 while the rocket is delivering the first 50. So that's 100 crates per rocket, basically. If I end up with crates sitting out on the loading station lines outside the rocket pads, that means that I have surplus, and enough surplus to feed more rockets without slowing down the first pair. So I'll first get the first rocket going. There we go. And as you can see, that system of claw trains keeps all of those crate maker lines pretty much empty, which is what we want. We don't want crates sitting around doing nothing, because as long as the crates are on the map, the crate maker may not be able to make more. There we go. Almost done. And there it is. So I do end up having some surplus here, and I'm going to, oops, didn't mean to do that. So I've got some surplus sitting outside, even though the pad is filled. So I'm going to go ahead and put another pair of rockets outside of these, and these ones will only get fed if the interior 2 are full, because the claw trains won't pick up moving crates. Oh, there's my 30,000 kg medallion. That's with only 3 trains and 4 rockets. Well, getting to 45,000 now is going to be super easy with the rockets that I'm building outside my crating factory. That is excellent. I'm very, very happy with that. So yes, the exterior loading lines built with crate makers being fed by a train, yes, that is definitely viable. There's no right or wrong way to build your loading system. Whatever works best for you is the best system to build. I prefer to feed my loading systems from inside the crating factories, just because I find that I get a more consistent delivery than with the crate makers outside. But the crate makers outside got me to 30,000, so technically I've achieved the objective of the planet. I'm happy with that. Now let's see how far we can push it. See how long it takes to get to the 45. We're in August of year 14. I've got my 6 main lines outside. Those are the loading stations. So now I'll build my feeder lines inside the factory here with my crate makers. I'm using my favorite crating system in here, 2 crate makers dropping empty crates onto a very short step conveyor belt, which is only long enough to fill them from an output transfer tube that's connected directly to the green container of my factory, which is making the mega fuel. And it's going to fill those crates right before they get onto the unload lines there, as you see, or the unload station lines. And so you can see the one on the left is already backing up. And if you look in the very top corner of the screen there, you'll see that the load lines for the rocket is also full. So I definitely have a lot of surplus going. So there we go. A couple more crate makers. The game lags a little bit every time I add a crate maker while the game is running. If I pause it, it doesn't do that. But it seems to, I think it's because I'm adding the crate makers, and that is creating instant computation cost on my CPU, or I don't know, something like that. So each of the main feeder lines will have just a short claw train that picks up 1 crate at a time, drops it on the load station outside with 1 claw, and then I'm going to build a second line of feeder lines. Oh, hey, look at that. There's the 45,000 kg medallion, and I haven't even got all my rockets going. It's January, year 15. It's not my best time. I did struggle earlier on with my trucks because of where I had chosen to load, but I'm still very happy with this playthrough. I wonder how high up I can go. I'm going to finish this rocket system and see. Like I said, I'll build a second feeder line for each of these once I get the main lines going. One pickup and one drop off on each claw train. Just short little guys. I've actually found that these are just as efficient as using the loop claw train that just goes in a constant circle with constant claw trains or claws. I found that there's little to no difference between those two. Now, as you can see there, the feeder line is of all four of those feeder lines just filled right up, like super fast. It's definitely a good loading system. Oh, we'll just add the secondary feeder lines. So far what I've found is that if you have multiple short claw trains that all drop onto the same load line, you actually get the most product delivery for the time that it takes. Rather than having long trains with lots of claws on them, this actually has been working very well for me. One more. 3 more to go. There we are. Okay, now let's see what our productivity can get up to now. Oh, I'm starting to see empty crates. That means I'm going through all of my mega fuel, which is good. We don't want the mega fuel just sitting in the tanks because it's not doing us any good there. Now, what are we at for productivity? Holy, 62,176. That is my best so far. I really appreciate you watching this series. I've had a lot of fun making it, and I look forward to my next challenge in Automation Empire. I'm going to try and get 45,000 kg medallions on every planet. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to click the like button down below. And if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, please don't hesitate to subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell.